Joining the program today, one of our favorites, Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, is here. Senator Kennedy, an honor to have you back on the show. Thank you, sir.
Well, the honor is mine, Scott. Thank you for having me.
I'll just ask you about the news of the day. Is there any chance that any of
Sure.
your Democratic colleagues are going to come to their senses and turn the lights back on in the federal government, or are we in for a long haul here on this shutdown?
They will eventually, but I think it's going to be a while. I can't predict the future. I have to wait for it like everyone else. But here, in my opinion, is how the shutdown will end. Senator Schumer will go to 6 or 8 of his Democratic Senate colleagues and ask them to vote to open up government. And he'll tell them, look, do me this favor. I've got to continue to vote no, and I may have to criticize you for doing what I'm asking you to do to make it look good. But I, Senator Schumer, have got to look tough. I don't think anybody will be fooled. In fact, if he does that, Scott, it may look like he's got a mutiny on his hands, which will make Chuck look even weaker. But I can't see the Republicans giving in to anywhere close to the $1.5 trillion that the Democrats are demanding. And even if they cut a deal directly with the president, I think it would be a really close vote even then. We're pretty dug in.
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to be in for a few more days. I guess October the 15th, though, is payday for the TSA and law enforcement and the military. Do you think if payday comes and goes and those paychecks don't land, that'll put additional pressure, or you think the Democrats are even going to look past that?
Well, it will cause additional pressure. It'll cause a lot of pain. Of course, you know the way Washington is. They just look at it up here, not in terms of human beings. They just look at the politics of everything. I would vote on just a smaller bill immediately, for example, to pay our military.
Right.
Leave government shut down, but let's pay our military. But and I think maybe some Democrats would go along, but there's some folks on my side of the aisle, the Republican side, that think that's not a good idea. They think it'll make us look weak, and they can be right. I just hate to see the military not get paid, but they would get paid if the Democrats would just be reasonable.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's reason. Common sense here would tell you that the Democrats should turn the lights on in the government, negotiate with Republicans, and then get back to regular order. But they're putting military, TSA, and law enforcement in the middle of all that. And those are real people that get hurt. A lot of those folks do live paycheck to paycheck. But just to be clear and for the record, it is the Republican Party in the Senate and the House that's voting to open the government, and it's the Democrats who are voting to close it. Yes?
Yes, and this is not complicated. Tuesday a week ago, when our budget ran out at midnight, we had been talking to the Democrats about no strings attached, just continuing the budget for 6 weeks while we tried to negotiate a new one. That's all we asked for. And at the last minute, Senator Schumer came to us and said, we will vote to shut government down unless you give us $1.5 trillion, and we're going to tell you how to spend it. Well, my mother did not raise a fool, and if she did, it was one of my brothers. I wasn't going to vote for that, and nor were any of my Senate colleagues. So, I know I'm biased, but also I'm trying to be factual. This is on my Democratic colleagues. They're the ones who keep voting no to keep it shut down and putting their hand out and saying you have to make government bigger by $1.5 trillion.
One final question on this. Do you believe Democrats are going to hold out on this shutdown in an effort to trick or maybe goad Republicans in the Senate to eliminating the filibuster? I, of course, think this would be a disaster if that happened, but is that part of their strategy here?
I don't know, of course. I'm not privy to their insider thinking. It could be. So it's a good question. I just don't think that there can't be more than one or two Republicans, if any, that would vote to get rid of the filibuster. I would never get rid of the filibuster. It's fine when you're in the majority to say, let's get rid of the filibuster. But we stopped so many bad bills by President Biden and the Democrats using the filibuster when President Biden was president, that I would never vote to get rid of the filibuster.
Yeah, well, it's a necessary thing, and you've been a strong supporter of the institution of the Senate.
Sure. In my 10 years in the U.S. Senate, my Democratic colleagues, as an institution, I suppose I should say the Democratic Party, has gotten crazier. And I say this all the time. Republicans aren't perfect, but the other side is crazy.
Yeah.
Not all Democrats are crazy, but clearly there is a loon wing of the Democratic Party, a socialist wing, and that wing is in control. And that's really the reason we're having a shutdown. Senator Schumer is trying to ingratiate himself to the moon wing of his party and its leader, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. Chuck wants them to love him. They will never love him. He doesn't want them to love him, but he doesn't see it that way. And that, to me, is the biggest change I've seen in 10 years. Now, they may say the same thing about the Republican Party. If they do, that's their opinion. But I just don't recognize the Democratic Party today. And they think children can change genders at recess. The main wing of the party, they hate Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and Dr. Zeus and Mr. Potato Head because they think they're racist. The American people don't think this way.
No. Yeah, I really do believe the Democratic Party has moved itself much farther than the Republicans. In fact, you look at some data on this, Republicans haven't really moved that much at all. Sure, Trump has changed a little bit about the Republican Party platform on one or two issues, but in terms of just being a center-right conservative party, it's been that way for a while. You go back to the 90s and you look at the kinds of ads that Bill Clinton had to run to get elected president of the United States. Well, you could slap a Donald Trump logo on that today and it would sound a lot like what he's been running on when it comes to immigration and welfare reform and so on. I mean, the Democrats of the 90s, the big Clinton supporters that I know back in Kentucky, and I suspect this is true in Louisiana, they're Trump people now. They're Republicans now, and they didn't change. It was their party that ran away from them and ran far to the left, wasn't it?
Yes, and I think you just nailed it. You analyzed the issue very well. If I were advising, and it's why the Democrats keep losing, if I were advising the Democratic Party right now,
yep,
I would tell them, don't listen to AOC. Don't listen to Senator Bernie Sanders. You guys need to talk to Bill Clinton.
That's right.
He brought the Democratic Party back to some semblance of sanity.
Let's pause that thought.
I mean, they're about to elect a Marxist mayor of New York.
Let's pick this up on the other side of the break because this is a key issue and it's going to affect our national politics. Senator Kennedy's our guest. I'm Scott Jennings, and you're on the Salem Radio Network.
Yeah, this is the Scott Jennings Show.
Wednesday, October the 8th, Scott Jennings on the Salem Radio Network. Common sense for the American people, and when you want common sense in Washington, D.C., the first and maybe only call you should make is to the Senate office of Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. He's our guest today. Senator, thanks for joining us. And you were making a point before the break about the radical shift in the Democratic Party. And you were saying, they're going to elect a socialist mayor of New York City. To me, it is more than just policy shifts. You look at the radical, violent tendencies of the left. This guy that's apparently committed the arson in L.A., Luigi Mangione, some of the political violence that we've seen, the person that shot Charlie Kirk, this guy running for attorney general in Virginia that obviously harbors violence in his heart. Not only are they doing that, you can't find Democrats to even call it out. What is going on with the opposition party here where they are embracing not just this radicalism in policy, but radicalism and revolutionaryism when it comes to violence and how to achieve outcomes in a system.
What you just described, Scott, is just further evidence of how the party has changed. I can remember a time, and I know you can too, when each party was led by adults, and they really believed in the free exchange of ideas. And if you disagreed with someone, you didn't think that person was evil. And you may think they were wrong or are wrong, but you didn't hate them. It's a problem, I confess, on both sides. But so many Democrats, particularly the ones who are members of the Loon wing, the socialist wing, if you disagree with them, you're not just in error, you are in sin. They think they're so much smarter and so much more virtuous than the American people. They feel contempt for our country. They should feel gratitude.
Yeah.
I think America's the greatest country in all of human history, and the whole world knows it. The whole world wants to come here. When's the last time you heard of someone trying to sneak into China? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't happen, man. Even people in America, the Loon wing of the Democratic Party, who hate America, don't want to leave. And that's, to me, is just fundamentally what is wrong with their party. I'm not saying Republicans are perfect. We're far from it. But I do think that's why President Trump was reelected. They looked at the leadership of the Republican Party, and they looked at the leadership of the Democratic Party, and the average American said, look, I've got a choice between hope and more hope. I've got a choice between a Republican Party, which is not perfect, but the other side is crazy as hell. And I think that's why the Democrats are losing elections. I could be wrong, but I doubt it.
Well, their approval ratings certainly bear out your point, I think. I mean, they're at historic lows no matter what survey you look at.